Hey guys, as Rooks here, welcome to Rooks Views, and welcome to Punisher Month. "2025 has come to a close. How do I sum up this year? It was fucking awful, and I hope to God 2025 suffers in hell." Oh, come on, Isaac. I wasn't that bad, now was I? No. Wait. Yes, it was. I had to start working for the goddamn agency again, and I had to give Captain America's shield back to Steve Rogers. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking, trying to steal from Captain fucking America. I also had to put up with Jono being a neglectful piece of shit towards his fucking kids. My brother ended up getting shot by Deadshot. Luckily, I was able to capture him. I also ended up having to save Jono's kids from Child Protective Services, which I don't know why the fuck I even got involved. I guess because Jono is my friend. Me and Indie Fan did our first and probably only crossover on the Cinema Snob movie. Me, Briggsy, and Mr. Nothing ended up getting into a fight with Chris, and we ended, well, by we, I mean Mr. Nothing whooped Chris's ass. On that same night, I ended up nuking the Child Protective Services base, or at least one of them. Again, I don't know why the fuck I got involved. At some point, me, Jono, Jimmy, and Mr. Johnson had to fight the agency, while Mario was at a meeting trying to end the agency. Well, the three of us were fighting. Mr. Johnson just sat there and smoked. And then Wario and Waluigi put an end to the robot duplicate that's been running around for the past few years. Also, I managed to get into several fights with Chris, which was fun. Also got stupidly rich this year, and Luigi came back to life, and the agency ended. Only temporarily, but still. I also did 3 goddamn reviews in a single day just because I was really fucking bored. And one of them with a person I do not want to talk about. Also went to space and fought the Empire, and I had to fight Dr. Eggman as well. Even though I was looking forward to a rematch with the Empire, I had to go back to Earth because my ship got damaged, which probably was a good thing because I ended up having to fight the agency who took over the Australian government. With friends that could not be fucked to get off their fucking ass for once in their goddamn lives, especially Jack, who I helped twice. Had to give the remainder of the money to the Secretary of Defense as well to pay him off. Also, me and Jono got to play in the snow, which was fun. And then eventually, after all of the nonsense I had to put up through, everyone basically retired except for Wario, and I had to deal with the guy that killed Logan. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that. And I got a pardon, again. There was also a quiet period for a while, which did not last very long because me and Aaron had a falling out. But no time for that because there was a demonic invasion and Chris came back to life for the 4th time, I think? And Chris became the CEO of the company that Logan made before he died. Also got to meet my dad, which I had to kill him because he was one of the people responsible for killing my brother along with Jimmy and Mr. Johnson, which both ended up getting killed one way or another. Also, my fucking house got invaded, which honestly at this point might as well be a cliche for me. And then a Christmas miracle happened because Chris revealed that he was immortal thanks to Beneather, and I got to slash him with Stormbreaker. With the year's summary out of the way, it is the top 5... Actually, I'm gonna make sure 2025 is actually dead. One more. It's the top 5 Punisher moments of the MCU. Number 5. The gym fight scene from Punisher Season 2. Now, the only reason this fight is at the lowest at the list is because this version of the Russian is not as good as the version from the Thomas Jane movie. But at the same time, I'm not here to talk about castings. I am here to talk about the fight scene. And this fight scene is pure brutal quality. And quite frankly, this is probably one of my personal favorite fight scenes in the whole MCU, just because of how brutal it is. Overall, this is one of the best fight scenes in the MCU, at least in my opinion. Number 4. The Punisher versus Cops fight from Daredevil Born Again. This fight is pure sauce. While I do criticize the use of CGI blood in this scene, but I do understand why they did, considering that this was one of the reshot scenes for the series, especially considering how many reshoots they had to do anyway. Again, CGI blood aside, this fight is really, really, really awesome. And again, despite the CGI blood, it does have really effective kills, and it feels really satisfying to see these cops absolutely die. And again, the context for the scene, well, when it comes to the story, will be talked about in my Daredevil Born Again review. Anyway, I gotta say though, when Punisher calls the cops a bunch of clowns, it is really cool, and it's just fun to see corrupt cops being called out for what they are. Overall, one of the best scenes of Daredevil Born Again. Number 3. Punisher versus Billy Russo from Punisher Season 1. This is easily the best Punisher fight scene in the MCU, specifically because of how personal it is. It's the climax of a major storyline for the Punisher in the MCU that started with Daredevil Season 2 and ends with this fight. And it genuinely is probably, if I'm not mistaken, the most brutal fight that the Punisher's ever had in media. Besides the comic books, of course. Overall, this is the best Punisher fight scene in the MCU, and we still have 2 more moments of the Punisher's MCU best moments to go. Number 2. Punisher confronts Daredevil about Foggy from Daredevil Born Again. Now, before any of you complain, I know Daredevil Born Again has 2 spots on this list, but at the same time, 1, Punisher doesn't have many appearances in the MCU outside of his show and the 2 Daredevil seasons he's in, and 2... both moments from Daredevil Born Again that I'm talking about on this list are really good, and I want to talk about it, and 3rd, it's my fucking show, I'll do what I want, so fuck off. Alright, with that out of the way, this moment right here is easily the best scene in the entirety of Daredevil Born Again, especially considering that the acting from Charlie Cox and Jon Bernthal, you can tell both actors really care about the specific characters that they're playing, and it really reflects well in this scene, especially considering that Jon Bernthal wrote most of his Punisher lines for this exact scene because he had a problem with the way the original direction for the character was going originally, so Marvel decided, hey, let's just give Jon Bernthal control and, let him do what needs to be done with this scene in particular. And this scene, according to Charlie Cox, single-handedly saved Daredevil Born Again from being a complete and total disaster because Marvel saw what they were doing and they saw this scene was good and the rest of the rest was dog shit. And I do love the whole idea that Punisher hates being called a victim because that's, for one, that's something I can relate to, but also, 2, the Punisher would easily hate being called a victim, especially considering that while he did suffer a lot, being called a victim is a pussy's way out. And while this is easily one of the best scenes in the MCU, and especially for these 2 characters, it doesn't compare to my number 1 spot. Number 1. The morality debate from Daredevil Season 2. I may be bold here, but this is not only the best Punisher moment in the MCU, it's actually one of the best moments of the MCU. Specifically because the complete contrast between Daredevil and Punisher in this scene, it's shown really well while they're doing the tell instead of show, and also they did show throughout most of the show as well, and they did it in a way that didn't make people want to kill themselves. And personally, while it does, and the thing is, this does show you both sides really effectively. And this is just my personal opinion. I completely agree with the Punisher here. Criminals need to die. They don't deserve to live, especially the rapists and pedophiles. We need people like the Punisher in real life, especially considering that stuff like the Bondi Beach shooting happened in Australia literally a few weeks ago as I'm recording this. And genuinely, I'm not even joking here. We need people like the Punisher, especially considering that the governments of the world have done fucking nothing for this country and for other countries in the world, not just, and by the way, Americans, I want to mention as well, I know I'm going on a completely off-topic rant, but Your government's not the only one that's completely fucked, alright? I could make a video about that. Anyway, back to the Punisher. This scene is really well done, and the acting from John Bernthal and Charlie Cox is really well done in this. Especially considering that basically the direction, the writing, everything about this scene is really great. And by the way, I could just gush about this scene for so long, but I do want to keep this video under 10 minutes. So overall, this is one of the best moments of the MCU, and easily the best Punisher moment. That's it for the top 5 Punisher moments in the MCU. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Take care. Chris!